Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Hana Sasaki, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. If you're over 65, or you love someone who is, I want you to picture something that happens in my exam room almost every single week. A patient sits down, rolls up their pant leg, looks at me with tired eyes and says, "Doc, I don't know what's happening." I wake up fine, but by the end of the day, my ankles look like balloons. I press on them, and the dent just stays there. That little dent is called pitting edema, and it's far more than a cosmetic nuisance. It's your body waving a flag, asking for help. I remember the exact season in my own life when that flag started waving at me. I was in my mid-30s, building this practice, raising 2 young children, and somewhere along the way, I had stopped taking care of myself the way I once did. Long days, takeout dinners, and way too much stress. One evening, I looked down in the shower and saw the unmistakable pits in my shins. My face had gotten rounder, too. I remember thinking, wait a minute, I'm a doctor. How did I let this happen to me? That moment became one of the greatest teachers of my career, because I realized that everything we're usually told about swollen legs in older adults is only half the story. Cut the salt, elevate your feet, maybe take a water pill. And while those steps can help some people, they leave so many of you still struggling, still feeling like your body is betraying you as the years go by. Today I want to share with you what I've learned after years of digging deeper, both for my patients and for myself. We're going to talk about a hidden factor that affects circulation at the cellular level, one that almost never gets discussed in a standard 15-minute doctor visit. And the beautiful part is, when you address it, many people experience a lightness in their legs and a return of energy that makes them feel 10 years younger. But first, let's get the important safety talk out of the way, because I care about you. If your swelling came on suddenly in one leg only, if you're short of breath, having chest pain, feeling dizzy, or notice swelling around your eyes or in your hands that appeared almost overnight, please stop this video right now and call your doctor or go to the emergency room. Those situations can signal a blood clot, heart failure, kidney problems, or other serious conditions that need immediate medical attention. I mean it. This video is for the millions of you dealing with the slow, persistent, day-after-day swelling that your doctor has already checked out and labeled just aging or venous insufficiency. That's who I'm speaking to today. So why does the usual advice fall short for so many wonderful people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s? We've all seen the same internet articles: too much salt, bad heart, weak kidneys, and yes, those can play a role. But I see patients every week who eat beautifully, take their medications faithfully, and still watch their ankles swell by 3 o'clock every afternoon. Something else is happening. Let me explain it the way I wish someone had explained it to me years ago. Think of your body as a beautiful old house that you've lived in for many decades. Over time, that house needs maintenance. The foundation, the plumbing, the electrical system, they all need attention. Your cells have their own miniature plumbing and electrical systems. The most important part is something called the sodium-potassium pump. These are like tiny engines sitting in the membrane of every single cell in your body. They pump sodium out and potassium in, and in doing so, they control how much fluid stays inside the cell versus how much leaks out into the spaces between cells. These pumps are energy hogs. They use up to 40% of all the energy your body makes every single day. 40%. That's how important fluid balance is to your survival. When these pumps start to struggle, fluid leaks out. Gravity pulls it down to your ankles and feet, and you see those persistent pits when you press with your thumb. Now, the big question is, why do these pumps start struggling as we get older? This is where the story gets interesting, and where most conventional advice stops short. It has a lot to do with how we process sugar and carbohydrates over a lifetime. Many of us grew up in an era when food was simpler. Then gradually, without us really noticing, packaged foods, breads, pastas, and hidden sugars crept into our diets. Over the years, those extra sugar molecules start attaching to proteins in our blood in a process called glycation. You've probably heard of the A1C test. That's essentially measuring how much glycation has occurred in your hemoglobin over the past few months. When proteins get glycated, they become stiff and sticky. They damage the delicate lining of your smallest blood vessels. They impair circulation. They make the walls of your capillaries leaky. And they interfere with the very energy production needed to run those sodium-potassium pumps I mentioned earlier. It's a vicious cycle. I had a patient named Margaret, a vibrant 74-year-old grandmother of 5 who used to dance ballroom with her husband. She came to me after her regular doctor told her the swelling was inevitable and she should just learn to live with it. Margaret's A1C was only 5.7, which many doctors would call normal, but when we looked deeper, we found significant glycation stress and very low thiamine levels. Within 10 weeks of changing a few key things, she was back dancing again. Her ankles looked normal for the first time in 6 years. Stories like Margaret's are why I get so passionate about this topic. So what are the 3 key players that can help restore order to this cellular chaos? The first 2 you've probably heard of, but probably not in this context. Potassium and magnesium. Potassium is the partner your sodium-potassium pumps cannot live without. Think of it as the special fuel these engines need. The problem is, the amount of potassium we need to keep these pumps running optimally is quite high, around 4,700 milligrams per day. To get that from food alone, you'd need to eat an enormous salad every single day. Most of us simply don't. And many blood pressure medications actually cause us to lose even more potassium. Magnesium is the great relaxer. It helps your blood vessels stay flexible instead of stiff. It calms the nervous system, supports deep sleep, and is absolutely essential for the mitochondria, those little power plants inside your cells that create the energy to run the pumps. Most adults over 60 are walking around with suboptimal magnesium levels, partly because our soils have become depleted and partly because stress and certain medications drain our stores. But there's one nutrient that I believe is the true missing link for many people with chronic pitting edema, especially if they've been on diuretics for years. That nutrient is vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. Thiamine is the spark plug for carbohydrate metabolism. Without enough of it, your body cannot completely burn the sugars and starches you eat. Instead, you get metabolic traffic jams that produce inflammatory byproducts. These byproducts further damage cell membranes and impair circulation. In its most severe form, thiamine deficiency causes a condition called wet beriberi. The heart becomes weak, fluid floods the lungs and legs, and people can literally drown in their own fluid. Thankfully, most of us will never see full-blown beriberi. But what we do see is a milder, long-term subclinical deficiency that shows up as swelling in the lower legs, fatigue, brain fog, and poor exercise tolerance. This becomes especially important for anyone who has been prescribed loop diuretics like furosemide or Lasix. These medications are life-saving for many heart conditions, but they flush thiamine out through the urine at an accelerated rate. After years of use, many patients become profoundly depleted without anyone noticing. When I corrected my own thiamine status, along with optimizing magnesium and potassium, the change was remarkable. The heavy, lead-like feeling in my legs lifted. My energy came back. Even my cravings for sweets decreased. It wasn't magic. It was simply giving my cells the raw materials they had been missing for years. Now, I want to be very clear about something. You cannot simply take a bunch of supplements and keep eating a diet loaded with refined carbohydrates and expect the swelling to stay away. It doesn't work that way. The sugar keeps driving the glycation process, and the inflammation keeps damaging the pumps. It's like trying to bail out a boat while leaving the hole in the hull wide open. We have to reduce the incoming sugar load while providing the nutrients that help your body process what you do eat. This is why I always tell patients that the real magic happens when we combine 3 things: lowering glycation stress, restoring key nutrients, and supporting the mechanical pumps in your body. Let's talk about that mechanical part, because it's something you have complete control over. Your legs contain one of the most elegant engineering marvels in the human body, the calf muscle pump. Every time you take a step, your calf muscles contract and literally squeeze the veins, pushing blood and lymphatic fluid upward against gravity. This is why people who are on their feet and moving regularly tend to have less ankle swelling than those who sit for long periods. I tell every patient the same thing. Aim for 5 minutes of movement every hour. That might sound like a lot, but it doesn't have to be dramatic. Walk to the mailbox. Do a few laps around your living room while the coffee is brewing. Stand up and do gentle heel-to-toe rocks. Even seated marches while watching television help. The key is consistency rather than intensity. Many of my older patients have found that wearing medical-grade compression stockings during the day, especially when they know they'll be sitting for a while, makes a tremendous difference. Of course, you should always get your doctor's approval first, particularly if you have arterial disease. I also love teaching patients about something I call ankle circles and alphabet writing with your feet. While you're sitting, trace the alphabet with your big toe. It sounds silly, but it activates all the tiny muscles and helps move fluid. My patients who do this faithfully while watching their evening news often report less morning stiffness and swelling. Now let's talk about some of the supporting nutrients that make this whole system work even better. Vitamin C and the bioflavonoids found in citrus, berries, and colorful vegetables act like the mortar between the bricks of your blood vessel walls. They keep those vessels strong so they don't leak fluid so easily. Vitamin B6 helps with fluid balance as well, and omega-3 fatty acids from fish or high-quality supplements help calm the inflammation that can make swelling worse. But I always come back to the lead actors, thiamine, magnesium, and potassium. Get those 3 right. Reduce the refined carbohydrates that drive glycation, and the supporting players can do what they were meant to do. I'd love to hear from you right now. Has your swelling been worse in the summer heat? Does it get better when you eat certain foods and worse after others? Have you noticed that certain times of day are predictably harder? Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and your stories help me create better content for this community. When we share what works for us, we all win. You might just give another viewer the exact clue they've been looking for. I want to speak for a moment to the emotional side of this, because I see it in my patients' faces. There's a quiet grief that comes with watching your body change in ways that limit your life. You want to play with your grandchildren on the floor but worry about getting back up. You want to travel but dread the swollen feet after a long flight. You wonder if this is just how it's going to be from now on. Please hear me when I say this. Your body is not broken. It is not failing you. It is an incredibly intelligent system that has been doing its best with whatever materials you've given it for 70, 80, or even 90 years. Sometimes it just needs the right keys to unlock its own healing mechanisms. When you reduce the sugar that's gumming up the works, when you replenish the spark plugs and the minerals that power your cellular engines, when you support the mechanical pumps with movement, something beautiful happens. Many people discover they still have more vitality left than they thought possible. I remember one gentleman, Mr. Alvarez, who was 81 years old. He had given up on ever wearing his favorite cowboy boots again because his feet and ankles were so swollen. After 3 months of working together on these principles, he walked into my office wearing those boots with the biggest smile I've ever seen. He said, "Doc, I feel like I got my feet back. That moment is why I do this work." Now, I know what many of you are thinking. This all sounds good, Dr. Hana, but what on earth am I supposed to eat? How do I get enough thiamine and potassium without spending all day in the kitchen? And how do I know if I need to supplement or if food is enough? These are excellent questions, and they deserve a thorough answer. That's why I've created a follow-up video that will walk you through exactly what my own daily meals look like now. I'll show you the food sources that are highest in thiamine, the clever ways to boost potassium without eating 12 cups of salad every day, and how to make these changes in a way that feels nourishing rather than restrictive. We'll talk about my love for traditional Japanese ingredients that happen to be rich in these nutrients, like natto, seaweed, and certain fermented foods that my grandmother used to make. There's wisdom in our ancestral food traditions that we can blend beautifully with modern life. I'll also share some gentle warning signs that your thiamine levels might be low, how to talk to your doctor about testing if needed, and how to approach supplementation wisely. Because while food should always come first, sometimes targeted supplementation can be the bridge that gets you feeling better faster. Before we finish today, I want to leave you with this thought. Your legs carry you through this beautiful life. They've walked you down the aisle, chased after children and grandchildren, stood at gravesides and wedding receptions, climbed mountains both literal and figurative. They deserve your care and attention now. By addressing the cellular energy crisis that so often underlies chronic swelling, you're not just reducing fluid, you're reclaiming your vitality, your confidence, and your joy in movement. Thank you for spending this time with me. It really is an honor to be part of your health journey. If this video resonated with you, please share it with someone you love who might be dealing with the same frustration. Let's create a community of older adults who refuse to accept unnecessary decline. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video where I'll lay out the exact food plan and supplement considerations that have worked so well for my patients and for me. In the meantime, be gentle with yourself. Move a little more today. Eat 1 extra serving of vegetables. Maybe enjoy some sunflower seeds or nutritional yeast, both of which are decent sources of thiamine. Small, consistent actions truly do add up. You've got more life in you than you probably realize. Your body is waiting for the right support to prove it to you. Take care, keep moving, stay curious about your own healing, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you all.